As a kid, I'd spend many evenings on the classic Doctor Who website, and there were many stories that intrigued and captured my imagination during these visits, but one of these stories was the Macra Terror. In 2019, this is Doctor Who's latest missing episode animation, and it's finally here, in both glorious colour and eerie black and white. In this review, I'll cover a brief overview of the physical DVD, and a review of the animation and story itself. Starting with the DVD, it's quite hard for me to start on a negative, especially with a project that's had such passion and hard work go into it. Firstly, the cover I really don't like. A DVD cover should give you a taste of what's to be expected, and this cover tells you nothing about the story. Even the Macra on the cover doesn't represent the redesign present in the animation, this being more of a fat tick. Where are the landscapes, the colony, the actual Macra, Ben, Polly, Jamie? I also find the faded gradient for the text, the Macra Terror, to be an odd choice. It makes the title of the story blend in with the background, which is something you definitely don't want when your product is on store shelves. The text should be bold and pop out to you. It also appears to be a common problem of damage to the slipcases during delivery, mine having a dent on every corner and a noticeable rip on the brand new spine design. The back is a sleek redesign, continuing the purple theme of the synopsis of the story, screenshots of the animation, and a list of special features. The DVD has both the standard cover, exactly the same as the slipcase, and on the other side an alternative cover, more traditional to the DVD range. The 2-disc set is displayed on a tray, with an advertisement for Titan Comics and a leaflet which is very lazily printed for a Blu-ray case, and they've obviously just not bothered to print a larger version for the DVD, so the booklet just jangles about inside and gets damaged. A massive shame, as the booklet is presented wonderfully with great information, production photos and concept art. Even the menu has changed to a similar design to that of the limited edition season box sets, a change which I just find unnecessary, but I can't say it doesn't look stylish. I think the classic Who DVD range needs to stop trying to reinvent the wheel with new releases. I don't mind the big covers, but I don't really see the point in them on the DVD case when they're already displayed on the slipcase. I'd much prefer a big cover for the slipcase, a classic template design with animated artwork for the DVD underneath, and then on the alternate side a photo cover to blend in with the rest of the DVD range. The animation for Macra Terror, however, is simply great. The scenes flow seamlessly, which improves the pacing of the story so much more than the recon or soundtrack. Like Power of the Daleks, the story is presented in a 16:9 aspect ratio rather than the traditional 4:3, a change I really didn't like for Power, as they didn't utilise the new space on the screen well, leaving a lot of emptiness and removing a lot of the tight close corridors the direction of Power originally aimed for. However, the Macra Terror has improved so much on the 16:9 format by taking creative freedom by intricately designing cinematic shots and spacing the character models to complement the environment. Creative freedom is used a lot for the direction and style of this story, which I felt cautious about going in, yet I pleasantly enjoyed. They blend in fantastically and so well that they never appear jarring or out of place. The biggest creative liberty is that of the pre-title sequence, a beautiful shot of the TARDIS transitioning into the end scene of the moon base, which then fades into a full-blown colour title sequence that blew me away, although the animated Troughton is quite jarring. Like Planet 55 did with their animations, the Macra Terror borrows some of their 1980s anime-inspired aesthetic with gorgeous landscape shots scattered throughout the story. These highly detailed shots bring so much life into the colony and shows the amount of care that was put into this animation. Unfortunately, the rough and tumble scene in episode 1 couldn't have been animated due to budgetary and time restraints, because the BBC just somehow thinks animation grows on trees. It isn't an important scene, but it is quite a charming and funny one. It's also where Polly gets her hair cut, but due to the scene not being there, the story just starts with Polly's short hair anyway. The rough and tumble scene also adds context to the environment of the colony, that everything is perfect, but the story already adequately demonstrates that without the scene. It's still available in the reconstruction on the DVD, so you're still able to watch it there. The Macra themselves have gotten a well-deserved update, a redesign that more closely resembles a crab with long legs that allow them to move with the fluidity of a spider, rather than a blob with claws that Shawcraft put together, a prop that not even the BBC liked. The new Macra look dynamic and action-like in colour and creepy in black and white. The animators take full advantage of this by reconstructing Ben and Polly's Macra encounter in a much more advanced way compared to a short crab loosely holding onto Annika Wills' leg. The new Macra Terror doesn't feel like it's saying that 1960s production values were inferior and obsolete. It instead embraces more of what most likely resembled the production teams in Ian Stuart Black's vision, especially after Shawcraft let them down with the Macra prop. The story itself is very obviously inspired by George Orwell's 1984. The story is littered with themes of surveillance, brainwash and totalitarianism. The imagery of the Control is even directly lifted from the book, being the same giant head that Big Brother was. The overall plot is that people in the colony are made to believe that everything is dandy and work is good, totally unaware that they themselves are slaves under the evil regime of the Macra. I always love when Doctor used to steal stories. Brain of Morbius is one of them that works super well, and Macra Terror's version of 1984 here, although really simplified, works quite nicely. But as a story itself, I wouldn't say that Macra Terror has anything fantastic or profound to say. It's quite a standard Troughton story, which automatically means it's going to be very watchable anyway. I'm very glad that the story follows a 4-part structure, as any more parts would have killed the story. There are already quite a bit of padding in episode 3. Overall, Macra Terror gets a 7 out of 10. I really do recommend that you watch it, as you're missing out on what is probably one of Troughton's most iconic lost stories. As for the animation, I wouldn't say it's the best animation we've had for a recon. It's definitely way better than Power, but I wouldn't say it's a stunning quality of 10th Planet or the Moon Base. It's a shame that the rough and tumble scene couldn't have been animated. I see a lot of people taking this out on the animators, which is completely wrong to do. Instead, politely voice to the BBC that you'd like to have them give the animation team a bigger budget and time span next time, so they can do bigger and better things. One more thing I'm going to talk about is the Wheel in Space animation featured. This condensed cut of episode 1 was animated under the funding of the BFI, and hopefully one day the story can get animated in full. It's so crisp with wonderful design. I love the TARDIS doors at the beginning of the story, and I adore the servo robot. It looks like it's been animated in 3D then cel shaded to give a black outline, an effect that surprisingly works really well, as we get to see the natural bobbing along of the robot, which adds such nice charm. Since animation has given Macra Terror a lot of life, I'd love to see the Wheel in Space animated in full, since this short animation brings a lot of life to dialogueless scenes. But for the next animation, I very much think it's time for a Hartnell, since we've not had one since
2013.
As they're doing stories in colour, the very obvious choice is the Celestial Toymaker. I love the story, and episode 4 is already surviving, and if not that, the Massacre would be another top choice for me, a stunning historical which in my opinion is the best Doctor Who has ever done. What story do you want to see animated next? Let me know in the comments along with your thoughts on the Macra Terror. While you're there, be sure to like and subscribe. I will be getting around to doing my 4th Doctor Adventures Series 8 review that was promised in the last video, along with an overview of the Season 18 box set. Thank you very much for watching, and always remember, work is good and there's no such thing as Macra.